Hi, and welcome to Chemistry 95, Spring 2014. Welcome to the class. I hope that you will enjoy the class and work hard and be successful. I wanted to take a few minutes to go over the course outline fairly in depth, just so that you can understand the kinds of things that will be expected of you and how you'll be assessed. Initially, here is just a little bit of information about the course itself, administrative kind of information. Here's my name, Jeff Hamilton. My office is Andrews 2756, and my cell phone number is 382-1849. This is a great way to communicate with me. If you wanted to text me or call me, feel free to use that number. Also, here's my email address, jeff.hamilton@lethbridgecollege.ca. Our class is held every Monday to Friday from 12 till 2 and will be in the room T2217. Our labs are in the Cousins building, room 2023, and you'll either be in lab number the first one, 10 to 12 in the morning, or from 12 to 2. And we do those most Tuesdays, not the first Tuesday, but most Tuesdays after during class, we'll have labs. On those Tuesdays, you either come to the 10 o'clock lab or the 12 o'clock lab, not both, and there will be no lecture class or no official class that day. It'll just be the lab. In terms of availability outside of class, you can text me anytime you want. Generally, I'll be available before class and on Tuesdays and Thursdays and on Friday, but basically you can contact me anytime you want. Our program chair and dean, their names and contact information are there. If you have any questions, they're great folks to chat with. You should have already taken Chemistry 85 or Chemistry 20. If you haven't, you might want to talk to me about that. We assume that you know a lot of the stuff from Chemistry 85, and we give you a bit of a brush up, but you'll want to make sure that you're good to go for this class. The course description down here, I'll maybe include it with the outcomes. We basically look at 4 different sections. We start with organic chemistry, and we look at thermodynamics, equilibrium, and finally we look at electrochemistry, so electrolytic and electrochemical cells. So those are the 4 main topics that we'll be going through. The class itself, we have lots of classroom discussions, we'll have activities, labs, you'll each do some kind of a presentation, and of course we'll have exams and things like that. The textbook that you need is by Zumdal and DeCoste. It's the 7th edition. We are moving to the 8th edition in the fall, but you can still use this one, and we'll accept this edition in the fall too if you're wanting to sell your book. You need some kind of a scientific calculator, a data booklet, I believe they're in the library. Also get some eyewear and a lab coat if you don't have them already for the lab. We'll talk about this in lab 2, but contact lenses aren't allowed in the laboratory. We've got stories about that, but make sure if you have contact lenses that you take them out and put on some glasses for lab days on Tuesdays. We'll be doing the bulk of our information in class, but we also have this Canvas course set up that'll have lots of good information in it as well. And I'm just sort of revising it this semester, so as the semester goes, you'll see more and more organized resources online there for you. During the summer or May-June session, we do have the Learning Cafe still open, and so I encourage, if you have questions or troubles, you can, of course, contact me anytime you want, but sometimes it's nice to have just another person tell you how to do something, and that helps. And the folks in the Learning Cafe are spectacular at doing that. We also have an accessibility services area at the college, and so if you need some exam accommodations or note-taking or any service like that, the folks down at Accessibility Services are great. Okay, in terms of how you'll be assessed in the class, you get 5 exams, 4 module exams and 1 final exam. Altogether, that's 65% of your mark will be based on exams. Then we also have labs, and you'll have 5 or 6 lab reports that you'll need to submit. And when typically when we have a lab on a Tuesday, the labs are due the next Tuesday. And we'll talk about lab write-ups when we get to that point. In addition, we'll have some classroom activities, presentations. Also, we'll try and have online weekly quizzes. So all of that stuff will encompass 10% of your mark. A fairly stickler on due dates for things. Sometimes late things happen, but please try and be on time for all of your assignments. There's some things you cannot be late for, definitely, and that would be an exam. If you miss an exam, you get a 0 for the exam. There's no questions. And that's less stress on me, less stress on you as well. If something happens in your life, you just can't make it for the exam, take your 0, and that's fine. The zeros, though, can be made up on the final exam. So if you do better on any portion, and it works for people who have written all the exams too, if you do better on a section on the final than you did during the semester, then I'll replace that mark. And I'll do that for 1 grade. Also, it's your responsibility to find out any information that you might have missed in a class that you weren't able to attend. So if there's quizzes or deadlines or assignments, it's your responsibility to find those out. In the labs, we're going to be looking at 5 or 6 labs during the semester. I have them listed down here. It's important that we're safe in the lab, and we'll talk about safety on the first day, the first lab day. But you can read through here. Mainly in here, we're talking about you need to be prepared for the lab, and also that you need to write or do a lab write-up for each one of the labs. And down here I have the labs listed. We're going to start with a, we'll start with a, that's a bit better, a lab safety and orientation lab. And included with that, we'll look at a ASA lab. We'll do that lab. We'll do that May 13th, and then the following week is when you need to submit your lab write-up for that. So it's basically 1 week after when you submit. Then we'll look at a thermodynamics lab, we'll look at a series of reactions, we'll look at equilibrium, and if we have time on that last week, we'll do either an acid base or maybe a redox titration. In terms of your grade for the class, it's the typical scale that we use in academic upgrading. So to get a 95, you have to get, or to get an A+, you have to get a 95. In order to fail, you got to be below 50, so 49 below. So, and there's the rest of the range. I'd encourage you to maybe read through the course outline, and there's things at the bottom here that are important, like this general course expectations. You expect to be on time. Class is until noon, so you expect to be on time. Come prepared to participate in class. I will have some things that you have to do before class, so I assume that you take the responsibility and get those things done beforehand. If you're in a group situation and there's marks associated with that, I expect you to contribute fully in each of those group sessions. Also, down here, institutional practices, course work used in this example. If you do something spectacular during the semester, I might just say, hey, can I use that next semester to show students what things are supposed to look like? If I do that, I'll make sure I have you fill out a form. I'll also keep assignments and exams for a year, just in case you want to come back and take a look at how well you have done. Academic honesty, this is something that we've talked a little bit about as staff lately. We've had some issues lately with students who have done some cheating. So either copying somebody's lab report or copying an assignment, or if there's a research presentation you need to do, copying things verbatim from somewhere online. It's called plagiarism, and if you do that, we take that fairly seriously. And so if you have any questions at all, whether you are plagiarizing something, or if you have any questions like that, let me know and I can help you out. Also, recording the classes, this is just sort of institution puts that in there. If you wanted to record any of my classes, feel free to do that, whether it's video, audio, or whatever you want. Feel free to do that. Okay, I think that's the course outline, the gist of it. If you have any specific questions about the course outline at all, feel free to give me a call. Be happy to chat with you. I look forward to a spectacular semester. Work hard, and for sure we'll have some success this term.